Uh, a report written in Chinese claims that Nika has made a report on Chinese influence operations in CESA. Can you speak to this, Deputy Director General? Uh, First of all, are there government officials employed? At kung mayroon, sino-sino po sila?
Madam Chairman, members of the committee and others present, good morning. Madam Chair, I will speak to the fact that indeed NICA has been conducting continuous monitoring across our 17 regional offices, Madam Chair, not just in the region where Cagayan Valley belongs to. Uh, as a matter of fact, Madam Chair, we are willing in an executive session to brief the chairperson and the members of the committee as to the extent of such Chinese, and we will call them under the nomenclature MIFI, Madam Chair, malign influence and foreign interference activities. The request is made because, first of all, we'd like to acknowledge that the extent is pervasive. And as of the initial briefings that we've had from our regions, mukhang wala pong region na exempted. As to whether or not there are government officials or employees that are involved in such, we cannot make a determination until the respective regions are able to submit their conclusive reports. So I will indeed confirm as to the information received by the good chairperson, ma'am.
Thank you, Deputy Director General. And the Chair welcomes the offer to conduct an executive session together with the members of my committee who are interested on these malign influence and foreign intervention activities. I note that the Deputy Director General said that these activities are extensive in scope and syempre nakakabahala na walang rehiyon sa ating bansa ay exempted. And I also noticed that at the top of this page of the part of the report that we showed, there's mention of Shi Lungkai, which is one of the names used by Shi Zhejiang here in the Philippines. So it seems that he is probably involved in this somehow, and I will wait for the executive session to hear the details about that. There's also in what we've shown already a reference to who is referred to in the report, or an excerpt which is in the report, to a Lebino, but is linked to an article which I will also show later, no, from Ramon Tulfo about CESA Administrator Raul Lambino, which I will ask the CESA resource persons about in a bit. Just a few more questions, Deputy Director General. At sabihan nyo na lang ako kung yung iba dito ay kaugnay din ng i-cover natin sa executive session. There was even an attempt to gain control of Fuga Island and developing it into a smart city. Intelligence agents flagged this as a national security concern, and the plan was aborted. Can you confirm that the aborted plan to turn Fuga into a smart city was a Beijing-led initiative for its security and territorial interests?
Madam Chair, as to the earlier question, whether there was an attempt, we would like to confirm, although that predates my stint in the NICA, there was indeed an effort on the part of our national security sector to block. It was elevated as a national security issue, prompting even statements from our previous national security advisor and our Secretary of National Defense, because there was already a public clamor to address such, and it was addressed at the highest level under the previous administration, Madam Chair. As to whether it was a Beijing-led operation, maybe at a proper time during the hearing to speak to the other efforts on the part of the Chinese government. We cannot conclusively say, however, there has been a confluence, Madam Chair, and this has been widely reported, not just in our government, but also by other foreign governments, there has been a confluence in the expansion of Chinese economic investment activities with the expansion of the nexus of espionage and criminal activities, which under our emerging consensus, Madam Chair, there is really such an effort to converge because it ties up conveniently with the the national security law that was passed by China in 2017, directing all their citizens and all entities that are in China to cooperate without fail with the Chinese government.
Thank you. And I think they have a partner law to that on if it's called espionage or but one that also obliges even state-owned enterprises or even non-state-owned enterprises, but Chinese economic enterprises operating in other countries to provide information to their government when asked.
Madam Chair, we're referring to the same legislation.
Right. Thank you. And again about this line of questioning, I'll get to CESA in a minute. Deputy Director General, international news reports in the past few days spoke of a telecom hack believed to be Chinese sponsored, called by the United States as, quote, the worst telecom hack in our nation's history. According to my source, there are threat actors operating these cyber espionage operations. Two of these threat actors are APT-40 and APT-41. I've received some information, of course, needing to be verified, that APT-40 and APT-41 sought to use the facilities in Myanmar of Xizhijiang for their operations. Some of the files of these bad actors have been released for the Senate hearing. Ito po yun. What I am concerned about here is information that the Philippines is a victim country of these espionage activities. Is there a study already on the origin of these hacks, and can we possibly trace them to gambling cities or even POGO hubs?
Madam Chair, with the information that we have, we can confirm that indeed Chinese advanced persistent threat groups are operating or targeting the Philippines, whether government or private sector entities. We have monitored some of them, Madam Chair, and again, in an executive session, if required, we can share some information. Secondly, Madam Chair, indeed, your information is accurate. In fact, the U.S. intelligence agencies have briefed both the Democrat and the Republican campaigns as to targeted attacks using at least one American telecommunications company. It's been named publicly, but of course I will not name it here. I don't believe it is my place. But yes, there has been such an effort in the lead up to the November 2024 elections in the United States.
Thank you. And again, we will wait for the executive session. Kahit ito na yung huling public hearing ng investigasyong ito, but at least preparatory to the committee report, my colleagues and I will appreciate that executive session. Noting also that these threat groups are described as advanced and persistent. So tawag pansin yun, tawag concern din, and also the possible relationship to what is being done in other countries as well. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, for the benefit of the committee and the listening public, may I address the issue on the APT? Yes, Madam Chair, an APT is a cybersecurity nomenclature that is, among practitioners, a polite way of describing state-backed or state-affiliated, advanced and highly sophisticated hacking groups. They may be cyber criminal groups as well, but why are they called advanced persistent threats? They are differentiated from the normal individual hackers or the disorganized or non-sophisticated hackers because of their resources, the personnel that they have, and the sophisticated skills that they possess. So much so that they are believed to be largely state-trained or state-sponsored or state-backed. Again, they provide a convenient cutout for certain countries, which we call revisionist countries, that seek to upend the international global order. They seek to achieve certain asymmetric advantages without using state resources and providing a convenient, deniable link to such groups. However, being able to obtain the benefit of such advanced cybersecurity capabilities against countries that are identified as adverse or adversarial to countries that avail of the services of these advanced persistent threat groups, Madam Chair.
So yun pala yung APT, Advanced Persistent Threat. So those groups 40 and 41 ang pinakita namin dito sa slides kanina. And yung sinabi nyo about upending the international order, naalala ko tuloy yung nabuksang video dun sa QR code dyan sa Yatay Spa ba yun? Oo. Yatay Spa sa Newport City. Okay. At paano naman po yung mga troll farms deliberately sowing disinformation? May lumabas na balita that there was a coordinated social media campaign supporting the vice president from accounts affiliated with China. Ito po yun. So have there been preliminary investigations on this?
Madam Chair, what makes this investigation difficult is that if the influence campaigns are done through legitimate social media platforms, we will have to course it through the owners and operators of the social media platforms, all of which are actually foreign-based. Kaya po kahit may nagrereklamo po tayong mga kababayan na mga nabiktima po ng scam, they will have to be, even if they approach our government agencies, they will have to be coursed through this foreign social media platforms. What makes them difficult po is many of them are not operating country offices. They're merely operating sales and marketing outlets here in our country, as opposed to other firms that have an end-to-end operation po dito sa bansa po natin. Secondly, Madam Chair, we cannot discount the possibility that these POGO hubs are also operating as dual-use entities.
Parang SIM card
Yes, Madam Chair, because if you look at it, kung pwede ka pong mang-scam, diretso po doon sa mga individual subscribers, pwede ka rin pong mag-push ng misinformation and other information via SMS. So, one way this is used po, no, kahit sabihin po natin, and this has been a problem before po. I used to work for a telco. Ang una po naming tinitingnan nun were what we call the aggregators. Meron po kasing ginagamit po yung lahat ng telco ng mga service po kung saan doon po nila pinapasa yung gusto po nilang i-text blast at yung po mga aggregators na po ang magte-text blast. Then we later found out po na binabypass na po yan ng mga scammers. Kasi po, yun nga, kasi nakita na po na yung aggregators po among themselves, they were policing their ranks already. Eventually po, nakita po natin na dinidiretso na po ng mga scam sites po na ito, yung pong tinatawag, meron po tayong tinatawag na IMSI catcher. These are what we call man-in-the-middle attacks. May mga nagpapanggap po na kunyari, mga cell site. But these are operated by hackers po. Dahil po nagpapanggap sila na mga cell sites, ang akala po ng mga cellphone natin, these are legitimate cell sites po. But in fact, they are operated by scammers. At yan po ang ginagawa po ng mga MC catchers, kinokolekta po yung impormasyon sa atin po mga cellphones at pag nakuha na po yan naman po ang gagamitin ng impormasyon para ikaw naman po yung biktimahin. Ang akala nyo po galing po sa mga legitimate telcos yung SMS, pero galing po pala sa mga scammers, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Director General. Paano yung spelling ng MC Catcher? MC Catcher?
IMSI po.
IMSI. Oh, tama. Okay. Man in the middle. All right. Habang sinasagot niyo yung mga tanong ko, naisip ko ang daming impormasyon dito na of interest kahit sa yung komite namin dito sa Senado having to do with ICT and pati electoral reforms, no? Speaking about the man in the middle. And in fact, yung tinatalakay nyo ngayon lamang, Deputy Director General, is one of the findings of a paper of Rear Admiral Romel Ong for the Ateneo Policy Center about POGOs also being used as for troll farms. And if I may, after my questions to the good Deputy Director General, I'd like to ask a few questions also of the good Admiral. But one last question muna sa atin, Deputy Director General. Nung nakaraang hearing po, Nika committed to look into reports on Guo Huaping's involvement in the intelligence activities of a foreign government. Are you able to speak to this now? Can you confirm that Guo Huaping is an agent of influence?
Madam Chair, in addressing that question, there was a supervening event wherein what was being thrown around in the public sphere and in the media was that, well, whether or not Go Huaping was a spy. And in our coordinations with the committee, we acknowledge that the term has been loosely used. And however, since this is a hearing in aid of legislation, and given the fact that there are current efforts to amend our espionage law, as well as to pass a law to counter foreign influence and foreign interference, we would like to be as specific and as accurate as we would like to be. We would like to distinguish between a foreign intelligence agent and an agent of influence because they are different. As to the question whether or not Go Huaping is a spy, or to be more accurate, a foreign intelligence agent, it requires a determination of fact, meaning that the intelligence agency to which that trained her, employed her, and supervised her or controlled her, either confirms or an officer of that agency confirms the existence or the fact rather of Ms. Go Huaping being their agent. We have not come to that determination yet, Madam Chair, which brings us to the fact, or to the question, is she an agent of influence? We do not have currently any legislation or any convention in our country that defines what an agent of influence is. However, within an historical context, Madam Chair, given that these activities have been common, especially during the Cold War, the activities and the facts that have come to light so far in this committee and in other committees, especially in the House, point to the fact that she is, and even in discussions within the intelligence community, there is consensus that indeed she is an agent of influence. What does that mean? If I may just read, Madam Chair.
Please proceed.